Hey everyone, and welcome back. So doing a news update today. It's actually originally going to do a pickups video because I do have a couple things that have come in. But I hate for a news video to wait too long. Unfortunately, and I know I say this before, so I do apologize up front. I am in a little bit of a time crunch today, so I'm probably going to skip over a lot of the details and really just mention the announcements themselves. I'll try at least have a screenshot on the screen if you want to pause it and read some of the details on some of these, or obviously, you check it out on your own as well. But I at least did want to mention these announcements because there are a couple of cool ones here. So first one, an interesting one. Don't have any details just yet, just a very early announcement, but coming soon from Umbrella Entertainment is a 4K release of Caligula. Yes, the infamous Caligula, and they're calling it the Ultimate Cut. Now, there was a rumored 4K restoration talked about, several years ago now. So I don't know if this is that restoration or a different one or whatever the case is, but yeah, so it's actually in the works from Umbrella Entertainment. Next up, let's move over to the Shout Factory, Scream Factory stuff. Not too much just yet, but one thing I do want to mention, just because a friend of mine is a huge fan, that is a Blu-ray release of the complete series of Kamen Rider Geats. Is that how you pronounce that? Geats? And that's going to be an 8-disc set. Now, this is a Blu-ray, so we'll be Region A locked, just as a heads up on that. Scheduled for April 23rd, retails for $99.98 for pre-order right now, at least at the Shout Factory website for $79.99. Didn't want to mention that because, again, a buddy of mine is actually a huge fan of those. And then the other one is from Scream Factory, is the exclusive title of Unlawful Entry has finally been restocked. As you know, it's an exclusive to the site. It's a limited release. And they actually sold out of the first run of it, which was limited to, what was the number? 1,620. But because there was such a demand for it, they were able to press a couple more. So that has jumped from 1,620 to 2,600. And that is now finally up for order on the Shout Factory website. So if you missed out on it initially, that's definitely time to go grab it. I don't know how long these extra ones are going to hold out. And that is on there right now. I think it's literally in stock, so they'll pretty much ship it out. And it does retail for $29.98. And again, it is limited. Now, they did say that as soon as these sell out, they will not be pressing anymore. So just want to let you guys know. And we're going to kind of jump around just a little bit. So Criterion has announced their May titles. Again, I'm going to kind of skip over some of the details, but I do want to at least just mention the titles. First up, which is probably arguably the sort of big title for May from them, is a new 4K release and also a separate Blu-ray release of Michael Powell's Peeping Tom. And that does have a new 4K restoration. And that should be actually really good because that was, if I remember correctly, that was filmed in actual Technicolor. So that should be that should look pretty amazing in 4K. And also, as you can see here, a couple of nice extras, a couple of nice interviews, commentary tracks, as well as some promotional stuff. So just want to kind of definitely mention that one. And then up next is, looks like a double feature Blu-ray. I think the rest of these are Blu-rays. I think Peeping Tom was the only 4K release. Set for May 7th is, looks like, let's see, 2 films in this set. A Story of Floating Weeds and just Floating Weeds. Okay. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It's the same film, not the same film. It's the original film that was made, what year was that? 1934, a silent Japanese film. And then the director went back and actually remade the film years later in, let's see, what year was that? 1959. So actually, that's actually really, really cool. So that's why it kind of threw me off. So the original silent version is called A Story of Floating Weeds. And then his remake that he did years later is called just Floating Weeds. It looks like the original silent version looks like it's using a pre-existing master, while the 1959 version does have a new 4K master. But again, this is a Blu-ray release. And I should mention real quick, Criterion usually region locks their Blu-ray. So most likely any of these Blu-rays are going to be region A locked. Next up, coming May 28th. I think that's what it says. I don't want to put on my glasses. Is the film Anatomy of a Fall, which I believe is that a newer film? I think it's a newer film. I don't see a date for it on here. Yes, 2023. So actually very, very new. And then next up is another box set with 3 films set for May 21st. And again, that is going to be a Blu-ray set. Looks like an African filmmaker's films from, let's see, 71, 75, and 77. So it's called Three Revolutionary Films by Ousmane Sembène? I'm sorry, I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly. And so it has three of his films. Let's see if I could maybe pronounce these correctly. Emitai from 1971, Exala from 1975, and then Cedo, I think, maybe, from 1977. But all three films are getting new 4K restorations, which is cool. And then finally, coming May 28th is a new Blu-ray release of the movie Girl Fight. This is a film that pretty much introduced Michelle Rodriguez. Has a new 4K restoration, but again, this is a Blu-ray release. And then that wraps up the May titles from Criterion. So next up, we move over to Kino, and they did detail their upcoming release, Blu-ray release of Fletch and Fletch Lives. Now, I know a lot of us were kind of hoping these would be 4K releases, but for whatever reason, they're not. That obviously has to be a decision from Universal, not Kino. Both set for April 16th, so they do, at least both do have new 2K transfers from the original 35mm inner positive, which is good. That still definitely holds a lot of detail. And both these releases actually do have a nice set of extras. Now, some of these were on pre-existing, especially for Fletch. I think a lot of these extras were on like the old Blu-ray and stuff from like way back. But for sure, the new one on each is they each have a brand new commentary with entertainment journalists, authors Brian Reisman and Max Every, and that is on both. But as you can see here, like Fletch, for example, a couple extras from, looks like 2007. One of them looks like a lot of interviews, and then a couple other of short things. But, I mean, it looks nice, and let's see, Fletch Lives, same thing. They got a couple of really nice interviews, so, I mean, yeah, I kind of wish these were 4K, but it is nice that these are going to have new transfers on them at least. And then next up from Kino are two announcements of titles that will be coming soon. You know, I don't really have any further details outside of the announcement, but the first one is the movie Below from David Twahi, who did, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I hope, you know, me and trying to pronounce people's names. But he also did the movie Pitch Black and The Arrival. And The Arrival, that's one I would love a 4K release. That's a very underrated film if you've never seen it. So again, there is a 4K release of that in the works. No further details outside of the announcement. Same thing for this other one. Coming soon is a 4K release of Walter Hill's Johnny Handsome, which I'm actually really excited about. I really like Johnny Handsome. It's one of those films that I think not too many people actually know about. So I'm definitely happily surprised that not only is that coming out, but it's actually getting a 4K release. And again, once details are released, I'll for sure mention it in another video because it's definitely one I am looking forward to. And then next up we have Severin has announced their February titles. All three titles, all Blu-ray, if I'm not mistaken. I believe all of these are Blu-ray, and all up for pre-order right now at the Severin website. And I think each one retails for $29.95. Each one is up for pre-order for $24. So let's just dive right in. So first one is a Blu-ray release of the movie The Scavengers. Has a new 4K restoration of two different cuts of the film. The original R-rated cut clocking in at 94 minutes, and then an unrated version clocking in at 104 minutes. Has a commentary track on the unrated cut only, as well as the two theatrical trailers and some promotional program replica. Oh, and that will be a region-free Blu-ray. Actually, I should mention that. Now, the next one is going to be a Region A locked Blu-ray, so just a heads up on that. And that is the movie Lola, which I think is actually a more recent film, but I could be wrong about that. Is there a year unlisted? I should probably look this up before I mention it. If I find it, I'll just put up a graphic. It's got a commentary track with the director, making of, an outtake trailer, and some short films from the director. And again, that retails for $29.95, up for pre-order right now for $24. And then finally, the third Blu-ray, this one is going to be region-free, luckily. Get a new 4K transfer from the original negative, which according to this was actually recently rediscovered. I guess it had been lost for a while. Thank goodness they found it. And a couple of nice extras as well, as you can see here. A commentary track, an audio discussion, looks like a 64-minute documentary, Hollywood's World of Flesh, a short film called The Casting Director, a theatrical trailer, and a teaser. And again, up for pre-order right now at the Severin website. And again, that one will also be region-free. I think Lola is the only one that's Region A locked. And if you want to get all three, Severin is offering a bundle where you can get all three and get it for just a little bit cheaper. So it comes with all three films it's up for pre-order right now for $65. And again, you get all three, Hotspur, Lola, and Scavengers. Again, all Blu-ray. And those are the February titles from Severin. Again, I apologize that I sort of skipped through a lot of the details on these. Several things to get to, and even other announcements that I decided just to hold off just a little bit longer. And actually, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think next Friday we're going to get the Arrow announcements for, what are we up to from Arrow? April? No, May, right? Isn't it May? I think it's May. The May announcements. Jeez. So weird to think we're already getting the May announcements from Arrow. And I am planning to do a new pickups video because actually the last pickups video that I put up, I'd actually recorded that almost a week prior to that before I actually was able to finish editing it and get it posted. And since then I've gotten a couple cool things. I think I've watched almost all of them, so I can definitely go through them and just like with that one, sort of offer, again, not sort of formal reviews, but definitely sort of share my thoughts. As well as a couple other things which I'll get to soon. And thank you guys also for being kind of patient for me. I know videos have been sort of few and far between, and I'm not always as quick to responding to comments as I want to be. Just a lot of things kind of going on, both personally and professionally. Anyway, so that's these announcements. Definitely let me know your thoughts on these. You can ask questions. I'll try and answer them as best I can. So let me know your thoughts, and as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.